Hi everybody, thanks for tuning in today to another one of our Cooking with Class segments. And today we have someone very special with us. Kevin Rathbun is visiting today, and Kevin is one of our famed JCCC alumni. He is a graduate of our culinary program, and he is currently an executive chef. He owns 3 restaurants of his own. Welcome. We're so glad to have you here.
So glad to be here. It's glad to be back in my hometown, my alma mater, coming back to see what's going on. The place is huge now.
It is a lot larger than when you were here, I think.
Yes.
We've got 17 buildings now, and gosh, it's so exciting. But so you were here when you were just a young pup. You grew up in Liberty, Missouri, is that right?
Originally from Liberty, Missouri, born and raised. Worked all over Kansas City for some time, and came here to college. I started cooking at Sambo's at the early age of 14 years old.
Sambo's, wow.
Yeah, right in Liberty. And my mother was in the business. My brother was a chef, or he's been a chef, and just grew up in it.
Yeah. So your mom being a chef kind of led you into the field, do you think?
She was actually more in the front of the house, but she was a maitre d' for restaurants like Le Bon Auberge and Jasper's and Pooch's 210 and places like that that have been around Kansas City for years.
Absolutely.
So she was in the business for 45, 50 years before she passed. Yeah.
Well, that's great. So then you went to work at a famous Kansas City restaurant, the American restaurant,
yeah,
right?
Before the American restaurant, I actually worked at the Kansas City Club, Harris House on the Plaza, or in Westport, actually, and just a couple other places around town. But I got the call from Bradley Ogden to go to the American restaurant. So I went to the American restaurant at the early age of 17 years old and was a sauté cook for those guys for a little while. And about 6 months after I was there, they promoted me to sous chef. At the same time, I was still in high school, and they told me that if I, because I was doing, I don't know what I had. I had 3 years experience, and I was only 17 years old.
Wow.
So they said, well, why don't you go to school out at Johnson County Community College? I said, great. Are you paying for it? And they said, yeah, we're Hallmark cards. Why not? So
excellent. Hallmark
cards paid for my schooling to come out here to Johnson County Community College and work at the American restaurant at the same time. Directly, actually, semester during high school I started. So I went to a distributive education course in high school and was in college before I was even out of high school.
That's incredible.
Got my associate's degree here, graduated in '85. As soon as I was done, moved to Houston, Texas, for the Brennan family. Was offered a job there as a sous chef under Rex Hale, who's been in Kansas City for some time as well. Stayed there for about 2.5 years, almost 3 years, and then Emeril Lagasse, the corporate chef of the company, asked me to come be his executive sous chef at Commander's Palace.
Wow, so in New Orleans.
And that was in New Orleans. That's before he really made it big.
Did he say BAM back then?
No, he didn't say BAM back then. Yeah, he said some other things, but I won't repeat them. No.
I'm sure he appreciates that.
No, he's a great guy. Great chef, by the way. Learned a ton from him. Only stayed at Commander's for about a year. Liked the group, but it was a big facility. Did 1,000 covers a night, and I actually got an offer from Stephen Piles, who ran a restaurant called Roost Street Cafe in Dallas, Texas, and was very on the forefront of Southwestern style foods. And I said, I think this is the place to go. So I went from New Orleans to Dallas, ran a restaurant of his called Baby Ruth for 7 years. After 3 months, was promoted to chef at the early age of 22.
Wow.
And ran his restaurant for about 7 years, and just learned a ton about Southwestern food and about Asian inspirations. And Dallas was kind of a melting pot for a lot of different cuisines, so really kind of sunk my teeth into that, and then was offered a job and was offered a partnership in Atlanta with Pano Caratasis, who has a restaurant group called the Buckhead Life Restaurant Group, who now has 12 restaurants. One of his most famous is the Buckhead Diner, which you might know of. So we opened Nava when I was 31, which is a Southwestern restaurant. Stayed with him for 9 years as a corporate chef, opened up 5 different concepts with him, and finally said at the age of 40 that, you know, I really need to just go do this myself. If I'm going to do it for other people, let me give it an opportunity to, let me have the opportunity to try it. So.
Sounds like you learned from a lot of really good people.
I did. I learned from, you know, I had great mentors, had great chefs, had celebrity chefs, had great business people, great business minds, and you know, just you know, it took me a little while, 31 years of experience, and you know, it took me a little while to kind of jump out of the nest, take the risk. At 41, I said, you know, I'm going to try this.
So in 2004, you opened Rathbun's restaurant.
Rathbun's restaurant.
And in Atlanta, Georgia, right?
In Atlanta, Georgia, just outside of downtown Atlanta on the east side, which was an area, kind of a garden district area that kind of was the first suburb of Atlanta. Went really, really bad for a long time, and now it's kind of this rebirth kind of happening, like
great.
You see in New York in the meatpacking district kind of thing. It was a kind of commercial buildings and old 100-year-old things that weren't burnt down, and opened up a restaurant off the beaten path, and to critical acclaim. We just started going well, and about 2 years after that, opened up a bar, which is a Spanish tapas Italian antipasta bar that is wine driven, all no domestic wines, but all Spanish and Italian.
That's the one that sounds so great to me.
Small plates. Oh, you
if
love
I come
it.
to Atlanta, will you get me in?
Absolutely. You know me now. So
there you go.
Not a problem. It's easy. I can work that out for you. And then about 7 months ago, we opened up Kevin Rathbun Steak, which is about 2 blocks from Rathbun's, and it's a prime steakhouse with everything that most prime steakhouses that we all know and love have, with a little bit of an edge, a little bit more eclectic on the sides and salads, and in a setting that is very women-friendly as well. It's not that old, you know,
the old good old boys club,
the old good old boys club
beef
meets,
and all that.
whatever. It's, you know, candlelit and warm wood feel, and it's
great. Now, does
great
that
place,
kind of
so.
harken back to your Kansas City roots a little
Absolutely.
bit, maybe?
You know, growing up in Kansas City was like a steak every day. You know, I mean, I grew up, and you know, my mother was in the restaurant business. My father was a jazz musician for some time. Loved the barbecue out back, and I mean, we ate meat 6 nights a week, and on Sundays, I can't remember what we ate, but it wasn't fish, not very much of it. So I knew I always wanted to have a steakhouse. I think steakhouses are here to stay, and there's some great meat out there, and you know, cooking great steaks at that place.
That sounds wonderful. Yeah. Well, now tell us why you've come back. You're doing some really special things for our culinary program to benefit the students here at the college.
Well, you know, after graduating from JCCC, I just kind of fell out of touch with Kansas City for a while. My mother was here. She lived in Northtown, Kansas City for some years. She passed about 3 years ago. So I didn't get back too often, even before a couple times a year maybe, and now it's been a little while since I got back. So I was really honored to be called by the school to come back and be a part of the Master Chef program. It's just like giving back. You know, it's been an evolution for me. When I was at an early age, you know, I really believed in, you know, people having a lot more experience in the restaurant field as opposed to coming to school. I thought the school was great, but I always thought that the exposure before school was a real, you really had to have a little bit of that. You know, and I was telling somebody earlier today that I think now that with the Food Network and with things that are happening in the restaurant business these days, and the networks there's so many people that are interested, young and old, in trying to be chefs and run their own restaurants. And you know, we're just getting really good people and talented people out of schools. And you know, I'm here to help whenever I can, do whatever I can, so people can go out and see, so some of the students can go out and see and do new and exciting things.
Well, for those of you out there watching, Kevin is here right now as the very first Master Chef in our Master Chef series. And these series of events are going to happen throughout 2008. We'll be bringing in chefs from all over the country. And what they do are special events that raise money for the students in the culinary program here at the college. So thanks for being here to do that again. And then, so that's happening tonight, and you mentioned the Food Network. Now, you're going to be on Iron Chef in February of '08, right?
I've done a bunch of stuff with the network. I actually tried to do some pilots, my brother and I, when, I don't know if it was, I don't know why they didn't take us. I don't know what the problem
They
is.
took Emerald, so
yeah, they
what's
took
up
Emerald.
with that?
What's up with that? But I've been on a few of the shows. Sarah Moulton's had us on a couple of times, and we did Ready, Set, Cook when it was happening, and so we're kind of friends and family with the Food Network, and after a certain period of time, we got invited to be on the Iron Chef, which we were happy to be there. It's been one of those shows that have just really kind of knocked the charts off. And,
everybody watches that stuff.
It's a stress test for sure.
I can imagine.
60 minutes of probably the most stressful time of my life, but it's TV, and it's action packed, and
it's competition.
It's competition, and it's all that stuff we know and love, and I can't really tell you. I'd have to kill you. But,
See, it's a big secret while we're taping this. Nobody knows who you competed against. So, I'm going to be watching that night, February 24th.
February 24th it comes on, 8 o'clock your time. And look for us. My brother and I are actually competing against one of the Iron Chefs and their chefs as well. So.
Now, your brother also is a chef, as you
he's
said,
a chef.
and he
He's got
owns
4 restaurants in Texas, one in Austin, and 2 in Dallas, and 1 in outside of Houston in the Woodlands.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, was he a graduate of our program?
Nope, he didn't really go to school.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, he didn't go to school. I don't know why he didn't. I guess Hallmark Cards didn't pay for him because he didn't work for him. So.
Well, that could be it. You had an advantage there.
I did have an advantage, but thank you very much, Hallmark Cards, for believing in me, and the American restaurant, every other restaurant in the city that really helped me get to where I am today.
Well, that's
and
great.
The school was, there's some of the instructors. It's going to be nice to see some of the faculty in here tonight, and see some of the guys that I went to class with, and just talk about old times and new times.
Kind of a reunion for everybody.
Yeah, it's a good feel.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. We really appreciate everything you're doing for us. And for those of you out there watching, this has been Kevin Rathbun. And if you're ever in Atlanta, you've got to go to Rathbun's Restaurant, the Krog Bar, or Kevin Rathbun Steak. It sounds like a wonderful place to hang out.
Than't you very much. It's
You're
been
welcome.
a pleasure to be here.
You bet. And if you want to tune in again for Cooking with Class anytime on the JCCC channel, we'll see you again next time.